It's those little things that keep me finding my way back to the Orange County line.
Hello and welcome to the Y with Dr. T. And I have with me a very special lady to Orange County, but specifically to Paoli. This is Janet Newton, and she is here with us to talk about Paoli and the history behind a lot of things that we know and love about Orange County.
Why we love Paoli.
That's right. That's right. So, Janet, please introduce yourself.
My name's Janet Newton. My maiden name was Sparks. I went to Paoli High School, graduated in 1965. It'll be 61 years in May that I graduated from high school. I went to college for a short time, thought I wanted to be a nurse. Well, that was short-lived. I hated it. Came back and went to work at Troop Elementary School and was there many years. And that started my career in offices. I've worked in several different offices in Paoli. I have a special love for all things Paoli and always promoting Paoli. And my dad, I guess he got me interested in history. He'd take me out in the woods and taught me how to hunt and skin squirrels and skin rabbits and trees and flowers, birds, and made me realize how special Paoli is. He's born and raised in Youngs Creek, Indiana. He was born in a log cabin. His family came here in mid-1800s, and my fourth great-grandfather was from Carolina. My third great-grandfather was born in North Carolina and came to Paoli and is buried at Beech Grove. So we go back a long way. My dad interested me in.
Yes, absolutely.
In family history, when he handed me, when I was 11 or 12 years old, he handed me this book. And it is the McBride family history. I didn't understand McBride. My name was Sparks. Well, this was my great-grandmother's name, McBride. So I'm relation to most of the McBrides in this.
You want to say there's still quite a few McBrides around here in Orange County. Yeah.
My third great-grandfather and his wife had 21 children, McBrides. So that's why there's a lot of McBrides. And a lot in this book is wrong. I found out it's wrong. Because these ladies are cousins, distant cousins, and this was out in 1958. And so when I guess probably my dad gave it to me when I was 11 or 12, so that's exactly what I would have been, 11 or 12. And I guess they had to write many, many, many letters to compile this information, many visits to courthouses and cemeteries. It's not like it was back then. Now you get on Ancestry and you have it at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And so I'm very proud to have this. A lot of the McBrides have this very same book, and I'm glad to be able to correct it. But that's what got me interested in it. And then I moved to Wales, United Kingdom. And, well, first of all, back up a little bit. I was always interested in history, like I said, from about 11 or 12 years old. Paoli, I remember the centennial of the courthouse was in 1950. I was 3 years old, not quite 3 years old, but I remember it, and I remember being there. And I remember being scared because my dad didn't have a beard, and they were growing beards for the centennial, and they had erected a fort. And they arrested people if they didn't have the men, if they didn't have a beard, and if they had a wooden nickel, they could pay their way out to get out of jail, out of the fort, out of the stockade. And I was scared. I started crying because I was thinking they're going to arrest my dad. He didn't have a beard. I remember that just like it was yesterday. And so that goes back. I remember that history. I remember I have a picture of me sitting on the cannons that year in 1950 when I was 3 years old. And so, time went past. I went to school. I was always interested in history. When I was in high school, I was interested in DAR. I knew what it was, Daughters of the American Revolution. I was very interested in that. But I knew I didn't have anybody that had been, here that long, or, I thought. And I thought, gosh, those people that, you wrote a letter for good citizenship, DAR Good Citizen of the Year. And that's when I first was aware of that. And I thought, gosh, to have somebody that be in your family that's been here that long, to have fought in the American Revolution, wow. And I thought, I'm just like a mixed dog, And so I didn't think any more about it. But I always thought that would be wonderful to have that kind of history. And so I moved back. I was only gone 6 years. I lived in Florida for a couple of years. And other than that, I've been here my whole life. And when I came back, president of the Historical Society, her name was Betty Kemple, and she's passed away, and she's a wonderful lady. She was born, raised here. Her family's from here. She loved Paoli. And she asked me to come to Historical Society. I'd been to Historical Society. Matter of fact, there was an Orange County Historical Society in the 1920s. And I don't know how long that lasted, but it died. And for years they didn't have one. Well, a group of people decided that we needed a historical society. So in 1972, some of the older people called a meeting, put it in the Paoli paper. And I saw that. I was 25. And my ex-husband and I, we ran around with a man called Ronnie Moon. And he had magazine articles written about him. And they called him Young Woodsman Moon. And he built log cabins. And he was just so knowledgeable about everything. Well, we decided, hey, we want to be part of this historical society, And we went to the Historical Society and walked in, and everybody just stared at us like, what are you doing here? It's kind of like young people now walking into a meeting, and everybody's old with gray hair, and they may feel out of place. I know some young men that's done that recently.
She gave you the wink. Yes, you did. You were buried in your phone.
Sorry, I'm checking out your insights from this podcast.
So anyway, Betty invited me to the Historical Society, and she said, we're going to, for the bicentennial, we're going to make a book of photo album. And this was in 2013. So they planned it early. You have to, with anything. And so I said, sure, I'll come. And I did. And so I worked on that book, was on that committee. And the book came out, Reflections of Orange County. And I was excited because they chose one of my pictures of the courthouse to be on the cover. And we published that book. And so I wasn't active from the 1972 meeting. I was for a short while, but then, life changed, baby, and things. So I hadn't been to Historical Society for years, but I did start going again in 2013. And that was just kind of serendipity with the pictures, Then that same year, the Historical Society decided to have a genealogy workshop. And Rebecca Gardner is the Orange County genealogist through the state. And she was going to have a workshop at the library. And that kind of really changed my life. I went to that workshop and I thought, okay. And she told us different websites to look up information. And so I thought, okay, I can do that. And then we had time to use the genealogy department at the library. So I went over and I looked up McBride's. And there was a folder called McBride's. And in the folder was a letter from a man to a woman in Vincennes talking about her being in Daughters of the American Revolution. And it was my fourth great-grandfather whose son settled here in Orange County. And I thought, what? And so I joined Daughters of the American Revolution. And it took a couple of years to get all the information together because it's very thorough. And so I've been in Daughters of the American Revolution, and I tout that all the time and try to get people to be interested in their genealogy. You just don't know what you might find. While I was looking up the McBride side of my family, and that's my father's side, I also went down the rabbit hole on my mother's side. And what I found on my mother's side was even more shocking. I found that I had a sixth great-grandfather that was in the American Revolution on my mother's side, and I never have followed up becoming, I mean, he's been proven, but I just haven't got all the paperwork with that. But he goes back to the boy who fell off the Mayflower, one of the Pilgrims. I found is my 10th great-grandfather, John Howland, and he fell off. He was an indentured servant, and he fell off the Mayflower. And I'm not the only one. I mean, there's millions of people in America that descend from the Pilgrims. And one of my DAR sisters, we found out, she descends from the very same Pilgrim, Lila Tucker. She's a local gal, member of the Paoli School Board. Everybody knows Lila. And so that was amazing. And just also found out that Benjamin Franklin is my ninth cousin, 9 times removed cousin. And that is amazing to me. And of course, you know, he's a patriot with the American Revolution and signed the Declaration of Independence. And I just love history, anything about history. So the picture, the Reflections of Orange County book got me started. We asked everybody to bring in old pictures and have them scanned and share so they could be in this book. And several people did. But it seems like a lot of people have these pictures. And this is a plea. If you have pictures, get them scanned. Get them to somebody in the Historical Society. You may not think they're valuable or tell Paoli's story, but they do. If your family was at the Holiday Countdown Parade in the 1970s and you have pictures, share them and save them. And I save a lot of pictures from the internet. For instance, Tim Key, musician, was on the Why with Dr.T just this morning. And they talked about his store on the square, the music store. Well, I saved pictures, so I knew I had a picture of that. I brought one in to Dr. T. And in 2016, also for the bicentennial, Roger Moon started I call it a history page. It's Slices of Orange County is the Facebook page, and people share pictures, share history about the town, and it's going strong 10 years later.
Yeah.
And people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah. So you have a motto. I want to make sure we share that.
Yes, my motto is, I mean, a lot of people think, oh, why do you worry about the past? That's over and done with. Good grief, go forward. Well, you've got to remember the past to shape the future. Remember who we are to move forward. Remember what's went in the past. remember our ideals, remember our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution. I think most Americans value that deeply.
And on that note, I do want to take this time and talk a little bit about America 250 and your role, and then anything else you want to talk about with America 250.
Of course, because I'm in Daughters of the American Revolution, it just makes sense that you celebrate 250 years of America, the 250 years of America's birth. And so each state wants the DAR to be totally involved in America 250 committees in each state. And we started meeting, will be 2 years in September that the Orange County America 250 committee started meeting. Everybody is invited to join, put your 2 cents worth in. We've had many activities already, from 2 lights to tomorrow on the courthouse. We had a big kickoff on June 14th, Flag Day in Orleans. We've had 175th birthday party for the courthouse. We've had Slices of Orange County, again, a reboot of that from 2016. We've had several of those, had good crowds and good times. And we have many more plans for this coming year. We will have a picnic. We're planning a Liberty elm tree on the square. Roger Moon's been on here explaining the time capsule program, and everybody really needs to fill that out. You can put in what you want. I don't know how well pictures will hold up over 50 years. It's not going to be buried, so that helps. But you can get your envelopes and papers to fill out free at any of the libraries, 3 county libraries. And also, I think they're taking them to Lost River Market in Delhi. And then they want them back a couple of weeks before July 4th, the big celebration. And that, you put anything you want in there. I'm going to put my genealogy. My husband's British, and he wanted a packet too because he wants to do it. He says a Brit standpoint from living in Paoli. And so we're excited. We haven't filled them out yet. We have time, but we are thinking about what we want to put in them.
Yeah, I too. I have ours at the house, and I'm waiting because I want to get a little closer because, history is made every day.
Right.
I don't know exactly what I want to
you
put
can
in
comment,
there. And
pictures. I don't know how much you can get in it. I don't know if you can put plastic things in it or not, but they would last, and you think about 50 years, your children, your grandchildren might be there, but I doubt that we're there. Pretty darn sure we're not going to be there. But, I got to thinking about it. My only grandchild is 21, and 50 years, it's 71. and that's just hard to believe. But it was hard to believe that it's been 50 years since 1976. I remember.
Yeah. And on that note, I think that's why these stories are important, because they will live on. Mm-hmm. They'll live past us, and once they're there, they're there.
Yeah.
And I think that is why is history so important? Well, it's important because it's our legacy,
right? And
it helps to move us forward. I think that on the America 250. The meetings that I've been to, it's been yes, this is our history, and how do we want to see moving forward? What does America mean to you moving forward as well? And we can't really do that unless we know what our past was.
Right.
So I think that it is kind of a full circle, thing. But
we want to make memories, and you want to remember those, your whole life. And you want your family, more importantly, you want your family to remember these memories. Come to the square on July 4th, because your children
Yeah.
will remember it, and it'll be
Yeah.
exciting for them 50 years from now.
So the last meeting that we were at, which was I think last week, and Robert Henderson, he said, now, Miss Terrell, you've been awful quiet. And he says, you have anything to say? And I said, well, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, Robert. And so I think we settled on our building here has been here a while. I mean, this is it was the old Boyd building. It was something else before that. Now it's
I
Court
came
Street
to the doctor
Commons.
in this.
Well,
this
here we go.
office.
So I want to talk about that, but first, I think that what we're excited because we're going to be able to kind of showcase our building too. So we're excited to see what we can do with those beautiful windows and
Red, white, and blue
right?
everywhere.
That
It
is
was
our
in
hope.
1976.
Yeah.
There was so much stuff. I mean, everything.
I wonder if you would have a picture of this building from 1976, or if we could locate one. How they had it decorated.
I don't think I have one for that. Back then, I usually just took pictures. Well, my ex-husband and I, we were building a log house, and we documented that step by step by step. The logs came from under Patoka Lake now, where they was moving the towns.
Yes,
and
I remember that.
We took the logs.
Or I don't remember it, but
And
I know the history of it.
And that's why I brought a National Geographic that our house was in 1976. And we were building that, but the town was decorated, flags everywhere. And everybody wore red, white, and blue that whole year, I think. It was exciting. Every party anybody had was 200th bicentennial, red, white, and blue. And
Yeah.
I don't think I have a picture of this building, but and I don't know how many people took a lot of pictures of the events because it cost a lot of money to get them developed.
Right.
We're so lucky now. You take
Yeah.
a million pictures and delete them and keep what you want,
Yeah, right.
And so it is so different. But
Well, we're really excited because I've already reached out to Candace Cook Klein, and
Yeah.
we're commissioning her to
do the
design
windows.
our windows.
Yeah. And everybody can do that.
Yeah, and she's
don't know
gonna-
how many she can do, but she can do a lot.
I know, right? And so we're hoping that she will also we're going to reimagine this podcast space in honor of America 250, and kind of show our support, because again, that's what
Right.
makes communities strong is the history
And
and learning
and-
from the history in some cases.
And participation.
And
We want
right.
everybody to get excited and to come to the events.
Yeah.
And like I talked to one of the town council members this week, and to make sure, yes, they're having fireworks, and they're going to plan some other things and decorate with the red, white, and blue theme. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will do that. Matter of fact, they're asking for everybody to try to put red, white, and blue lights and
Yeah.
flags out, especially in May and June, leading up
Right.
to July 4th.
Yes, and that was our plans with this building, is to be able to put quite a few lights and
Right.
and to do that as soon as the weather kind of breaks, so that
Right,
we can
right.
so that maybe it'll encourage other.
Right. The more everybody talks it up, the more everybody decorates. Other people will follow suit and get enthused also, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay, so you have some more pictures there, some more photos.
Well,
so,
mostly it's my family. I just brought a couple of pictures, like why I'm interested in history. Well, this is something to do with DAR. Another thing that's going to happen on July 4th. We found out, of course, back in 1940, when the monument, the Revolutionary War patriots who are buried in Orange County, who fought in the Revolution and are buried in Orange County, in 1940, DAR put up a monument, and it's on the square, has been there since 1940, and it's made out of gristmill burrs, the burrs that grind the mill.
yeah.
And one of them came from Old Spring Mill. Jonathan Lindley, Orange County founder. Well, Hollowell's founded Valine, but Jonathan Lindley was more Paoli. But this is from 1940 newspaper, and that's the ladies dedicating that. And so they had to work hard to find all the names of the Revolutionary patriots that are buried throughout the county. They had to write a lot of letters. They had to go to a lot of cemeteries. They went to the WPA cemetery back in the Works Project era. In the 1930s, they did a survey of every cemetery. And so they had to really work hard to find the names. Well, now in today's digital world, we found, with the help of Becky Gardner, our genealogist, we found 7 more names. And we're going to put an additional plaque on the memorial because we don't want to leave anybody off. These 7 men also fought in the Revolution. And so I'm sure a lot of these men's families live right here. And that's why I never knew that I had a patriot in my family until 2013. You may have a patriot in your family.
I would love to find that out.
And it's so easy to find out.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I have, the ancestry.com or whatever, and I can't make heads and tail out of any. I don't think I know how to do
it. It's very easy. Once you learn, you can just go back and back and back like I went all the way back to Europe. And there's another story there. I lived in Wales, and we would often go to a town named Shrewsbury, which was just across to the English border. And there's a castle there called Ludlow Castle. And in researching my ancestry, all my ancestors, that kept going back. Now, I have not researched this with paper and birth certificates and all that. I'm just looking at ancestry. And you have to be careful because they're wrong a lot. But I found out that I was related to the Ludlows that built that castle. And King Henry VIII and his brother, who was king before he was, they were hidden in Ludlow Castle at one time when they were young boys. They were always fighting over there. And I thought, I didn't know that when I was there, Right. So you find out so much, and it's just wonderful. Yeah. I'm a proponent of Ancestry.com, and but you do have to pay for Ancestry, but there is a free, I think it's still free, and that is the, everybody just calls it the Mormon information, My Heritage website, and that is all based in Salt Lake City with the Mormon Church, Church of the Latter-day Saints. And so you can find out information there too. But you do have to check and double check and recheck. And just like I said, the book my father handed me, it had so much wrong information in it. Those ladies did their darndest, and I believed it till, never mention of a patriot that had served it. They had people coming from the wrong area, and they went to one way, and then that really wasn't our family. You can prove it.
Yeah, I think that's been my problem, is I kind of get rabbit holed or sidetracked, and then I get on, and I'm not sure how it all kind of winds back, if it does at all. But so I think I'd like to somewhat tidy up this particular podcast by asking you what advice do you have for other people about history and the value of it and why we need to account for it?
I just think it's so important. It makes you feel good about yourself. Like, this is my home. My ancestors came here. And if your ancestors didn't come until they immigrated, like I have a friend whose family immigrated to Canada and then came across the line, the national line to Michigan. And she could go back to Czechoslovakia and find ancestors, on Ancestry. You can do that. And she should be proud of that. And if your ancestors, no matter where your ancestors come from, you ended up here. And how did you end up here? maybe your family just moved here. Well, like all the doctors, they moved here in the 70s, and
Yes, and that is we had our 50th
yes,
anniversary at
yes.
SICHC,
And
and
I
those are the
remember-
doctors you're referring to,
I
correct?
remember when
Yeah.
they came here,
Yeah,
and
okay.
one of them was my doctor for many, many years.
Which one?
Dr. Graber.
Oh, yes.
And there's I got a lot of stories with Dr. Graber, and then right now with the clinic, Dr. Yoder's been my doctor since she came here.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the clinic. They do good work, and I don't know what this town would be like if they hadn't come here.
It is weird that you say that, because I had Dr. Kiesler here as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons that I wanted him on, which I told him in the episode, was that we have had quite a few episodes, and SICHC always seems to find their way in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are a real
It means a lot to a lot of
connective
people.
hub.
Mm-hmm.
50 years of
Mm-hmm.
health care
Mm-hmm.
in one community is a big deal.
And not only health care, they care about the arts. They care about feeding people. They healthy eating. Like yesterday, they had this new healthy.
I know, I was there.
Yeah. And I went to the last one, but I'm a little old this year.
Yeah. Oh no! Wait a minute. I'm talking about something different. They kicked off their exercise
that's what I
initiative.
was-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I guess I'm not too old to exercise, but I can do my own exercise. I guess.
Yeah. We had that was pretty amazing. I think we had nearly 100.
Yeah.
Folks.
They
who
had
showed
one a few years ago. Like
the
that.
WOW one.
Yeah,
Is what you're
right,
That one.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so you should be proud of your community, and I participate in your community. If you sit home on the internet playing games, which I sit home too a lot on the internet with pictures, because I've become a local. Everywhere I go, people say, "Do you have a picture of such and such?" Well, just like Dr.T asked me about a picture of this building, and I have several.
And I know you're known for knowing specifically about Paoli.
Right.
Anytime I want to know something, well, did you ask Janet?
Right.
Well, did you
right.
ask her? Maybe she's got a picture. And I mean,
Right.
and it's so valuable.
So many people ask me about that, and I just collect them now. And that book, Reflections of Orange County, the 2016 bicentennial, not bicent, yeah, it was Orange County, the state bicentennial, not 2076 national bicentennial. It's our state bicentennial in 2016. And the book that the Historical Society created for that got me really interested in pictures. Although I'd been collecting postcards of Paoli for quite some time. And I do have a lot of pictures. And they're interesting just to read. They were mailed here and there. And, they postcards back then were used to, are you going to the dance? Mail was delivered most places around here twice a day. I don't know if it's 5 days or 6 days a week, but they didn't have telephones, so they had to rely on postcards. Are you going to the dance Saturday night? Will you be in Paoli over the weekend? And it's interesting to read, when we can just text. It's instant.
Right.
and so I love that. I love all that, I think Little House on the Prairie was an interesting thing to get me interested in history too, and playing with cowboys during the cowboy era, and just history is just interesting to me. It always has been.
Yeah. And I think that probably wraps up our episode with why is history important to a community.
It is important. You've just got to know your history to move forward, I think. Know why your community exists. This community exists because of slavery. The Quakers that settled here didn't want anything to do with it, so they came across the line. And
and we do have a rich history. That is probably not for this episode, but we do that is worth telling.
Yep.
Yeah. In our Quaker history, definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of history that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I like to share it. People, like I said, I know people are interested. And lots of times when you say I go to Walmart, somebody will say, you posted a picture a few weeks ago of such and such, you know any more about it? Or, last week, somebody mentioned a person that was I call a character. Like Barney Fife in Mayberry, he was a character. Well, we have a lot of characters over the last 50, 60 years. I'm sure beyond that too, but I don't remember that. Beyond that. And you would not believe, somebody mentioned this particular person, and all the people that had good memories and shared memories and wanted to see pictures of him. And it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's heartwarming. And people care. And that's good in a small town.
I know we need to end this, but just Friday night, I was looking through my phone at the videos, and I was actually looking for videos that I might had Tim Key in, so I could post along with this episode, or with his episode. And I came across 2 wonderful videos of Andy Mailer.
Yeah.
Singing.
There's so many. Yeah.
And playing guitar. And I didn't even realize I had
He might
those.
In a few years he may be classified as a character,
Yeah.
and you wonder about that, like who's going to be the characters that people remember 50 years from now. Maybe Brian Campbell for his chickens on his property.
Yeah, maybe, right?
You
never know. And that's the weird thing about history is you don't know how it's going to record you.
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't ever really know.
When I said I used to go to the doctor here, his name was Dr. Keith Hammond. He was when I was a little bitty girl, his office was over there. And I love newspapers. I've always loved newspapers. My dad read newspaper every day after he got home from Cornwell Company from work. He read the Louisville Times. And so I read newspapers, and I was on the Paoli staff, and I worked for the News Republican, and I just love newspapers, and I researched newspapers. And I found with the Orange County Historical Society newspaper project, we were throwing away papers. Take what you want, because we saved copies of each, 2 copies of each, and that we had going back forever, seems like. Only we destroyed a lot too, because we had no place to keep them, and we saved copies and they had them digitized, but we had so many that were taken to the recycle center, or if you wanted them, Historical Society members, take some. I took some. So I'll tell you a story about Dr. Hammond. He went to the World War II in the 40s. This was before my time. I mean, before I didn't know this till I read the paper. And so Dr. Clark, who had Clark Hospital, where I was born, and it was about, for those that don't know, it was about where the new El Compadre is. And Dr. Clark was instrumental in starting the Paoli Hospital, current Paoli Hospital. But Dr. Clark was the only doctor in town in Paoli. And he was in a terrible accident. They didn't think he would live. He was in Louisville Hospital for weeks and weeks. And, of course, doctors were gone. They went overseas, like Dr. Hammond did. They needed him there. So Paoli did not have a doctor. Dr. Clark was older. And so the town wrote letters to try to get Dr. Hammond back. And they succeeded. He got released, and I found all that information, and it is just so interesting to read about. And he went to one of the Lions Club or one of those clubs and told about his time overseas, and that was interesting. So newspapers, everybody read newspapers if you can find them.
That's right. And we used to have 3 newspapers. We have 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is great. Definitely support your local newspapers.
Right.
We need to keep that tradition alive.
They're so much better than online newspapers.
I know. Well, it's one of them things. Like I'd much rather read a book. I'd much
Yeah.
rather feel the pages and smell the book.
Yeah,
Than read on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I appreciate you so much.
Okay. But
and-
everybody come to the all the activities for the America 250.
Yes.
It's going to be fun.
Either here or wherever you are, because
Right.
it's happening
right.
kind of everywhere.
Each town is going to have events, and go to those and all the other towns around. I think there's already been a lot of
Yeah.
America 250 events all over the state.
Yeah.
And of course, back east, like we talked in the meeting the other night, where it happened, Virginia and all North Carolina, all the East Coast, they've had a lot of events already. And visit your historical places this year too. We have a lot of those.
Yeah. There you go. Now I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much.
If the